In this video, I want to go through a CFA Level 1 exam style question on the OAS or Option Adjusted Spread. So if this is something you want to get right in the exam, do keep watching and let's get solving. So this is the question which I want us to have a go at. A 3-year, €1,000, 5% annual coupon callable corporate bond is trading at a Z spread of 160 basis points. It is determined that the value of the call option expressed in basis points per year is 46 basis points, and the following benchmark spot rates are available. And we've got a set of 3 spot rates. Now, this scenario is exactly the same as the one that I used in a previous video where we used the Z spread to compute the value of this callable bond. But look at the question now. The price of an otherwise equal but non-callable bond is closest to. So we're not supposed to really price the bond from the scenario, but an equivalent bond without the call option attached. And for that, you're going to need the OAS, or as the full name is the option adjusted spread. Now, the option adjusted spread is going to be computed, let me take a different color, as the Z spread, something we already did in the previous question, minus option value. And, option value here is expressed in basis points at 46 BPS. So essentially, we're going to take 160 for the Z spread minus 46 BPS basis points for option value, thus arriving at a figure of 114 BPS basis points. Right, we're going to use this as an add-on factor to these spot rates for the purposes of discounting the cash flows on the instrument. Just like I, in the previous video, used the Z spread to do exactly that. Add the Z spread of 1.6%, 160 basis points, to every spot rate from the spot curve, from the benchmark spot curve, to discount cash flows. Now I'm going to do the same thing, but with a slightly lower add-on factor. Now, obviously, because we're going to be discounting using a slightly lower discount factor, we're going to get a higher result. And that's absolutely perfectly fine. And after we've done the discounting, I'm going to, explore that notion a little bit more. So for now, option adjusted spread is defined like so. Let me also say that what the option adjusted spread allows us to do, so it allows us to value a bond, but in a way which is adjusted for option value. The option or option value. So let's get cracking. The thing we're going to do here, just like before, is set up a schedule of cash flows. So I'm going to compute the PV, the present value of the instrument, and I'm going to take all the cash flows from the bond. So this is 5% annual coupon on a bond with a €1,000 nominal value. So first cash flow is 50, then there's going to be another cash flow also of 50, and then finally a cash flow of 1,050. So that's coupon plus the recovery of nominal value or par value. And we're going to have discounting over here. And in the first instance of that first cash flow, the discount factor is going to be 1 plus whatever is the spot rate for 1 year. That's 2.19. So 0.0219. And now, instead of adding the Z spread, which is what I did before, I'm going to add the option adjusted spread, or OAS. So that's going to be the 0.0114. We do the same thing over here, except for the fact that instead of using the 1 year spot rate, I'm going to utilize the 2 year spot rate, 1 plus 0.0305 plus, obviously, that same 114 basis points. Okay, that's 1 0 too many. And this is going to be raised to the power of 2. And for the third one, same procedure, 1 plus 0.0372, that's a 0, and add 0.0114 to it, raise this to the power of 3. Now let me once again emphasize or recall that in the previous video that I did, where we were actually supposed to value the callable bond, we used the Z spread, and that was a higher number over here, thus producing a higher denominator in the fractions, or each of the fractions, and therefore leading to a lower present value. Now we're going to be discounting using these factors, and that's going to ultimately produce a higher present value, because when you are supposed to value a bond as if it didn't contain a call option, you're always going to get a higher number. Recall that a call option works against the holder of the bond and in favor of the bond issuer. So a bond without any callable features is going to be priced higher than an equivalent bond with a call option attached. Let's get the numbers in from the calculator. So 50 divided by, open bracket, 1 plus 0.0219, and on top of this 0.0114, close bracket, plus the next 50 divided by, open bracket, 1 plus 0.0305 plus 0.0, have to be careful here, 114, close bracket, squared. And then this 1050 divided by, once again, open the bracket, 1 plus 0.0372 plus 0.0114, close bracket, to the power of 3. Let's hit the equals key, and I see an outcome or an answer of 1,005 roughly 12. And if we check this against the answers or the potential possible answers to the problem, we see that this corresponds very nicely with answer A. So that's a brief question on the OAS, as you need to understand it from the point of view of valuing bonds. We're going to use it, especially in a situation where you're supposed to compute the value of a bond if it didn't have the call option built in. One way which you can think about the OAS in relation to the Z spread and the benchmark spot curve is as follows. If you plot the benchmark spot curve over here, i.e. this is a set of spot rates you would be using to discount cash flows, which are accordingly, 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years away from today. This is the set of the set of discount rates or rates you would use for discounting cash flows, typically on government securities. Now, when you have to perform the relevant discounting of cash flows, but coming from a riskier instrument than a government one, you're going to use something like a Z spread. Now, a Z spread is basically an amount expressed in basis points, a spread expressed in basis points, which you would add to whatever is your benchmark spot curve to come up with a set of spot rates for discounting riskier instruments. So here, Z spread for this specific bond was 160 basis points. But for callable bonds or bonds with built-in option features, you're also going to have an OAS. And an OAS, in this case, is going to be slightly smaller because it's also an amount that you need to add to whatever is the benchmark spot rate, but it's not as severe as the Z spread. In this case, the OAS was just 114 basis points. And this produces for us a value, or allows us to produce a value for an option-free or option-adjusted security.